Hey everyone, in this video I'll be analysing the physique of Ken from Sunken Rock and giving you a program that you can use to develop the muscles important for his physique. So this is definitely a very advanced physique, but I do think it is attainable naturally. There's no unrealistic size here, unlike something like Yujiro Hanma's physique. First off, you'll notice that he is completely shredded. Like, you can see all the striations in his chest, the veins in his shoulders and biceps, even ab veins, which you have to be really low body fat percentage to get those. Obviously, being shredded, you can see all the definition in his abs, his serratus muscles, and he's holding a vacuum pose in this picture. Also, he has massive traps. He has really good trap insertions very high up on his neck and wide along his collarbones as well, which just gives him these enormous mountainous like sloping traps. It's going to be hard to get traps that look like this if you don't have these kind of genetics, but they are a crucial part of this physique, so you're going to have to train them. You can see his obliques are pretty well defined. Not huge, but you can see them because he's just that shredded. Great separation between the front delt and the biceps. You can see that dark shadow. And his biceps, we can't see much of them, but from what you can see, they look really full, really long, nice bicep insertions. Again, a lot of you are not going to have bicep insertions like this. They might be much smaller. I have much shorter muscle bellies in my biceps, whereas his are very long, which makes them look nice and full. In this picture, he's kind of hitting a lat spread and showing off that really nice V-taper. I would say he looks pretty torso dominant in this image, so his arms look kind of small compared to his torso, but we'll see in later pictures they're certainly pretty big. And he definitely has some long collarbones, which gives him naturally wide shoulders. So if you don't have collarbones this long, you're going to have to train a lot of side and rear delts and back in order to look as wide as you can. Some people are just born with very long collarbones, and that gives them a natural wide shoulders and V-taper appearance. And we can clearly see he has an 8-pack. So not everyone has the genetics for an 8-pack. The 6-pack or the 8-pack is the rectus abdominis muscle, and everyone actually only has 2 of these muscles, one on each side of your body, on the left and right. The 6-pack or the 8-pack appearance is created by bands of connective tissue that run horizontally in front of the rectus abdominis to give it the appearance of being separated into like a 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack or whatever. If you get as shredded as this guy, you might discover that you have a 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack, or even a 10-pack, which is like very rare. Now moving on to this picture of his back, and this is one of the best backs I've ever seen. It looks like his elbows are kind of behind his body, so his back doesn't look insanely wide because he's not doing a lat spread or anything. But just look at the definition, the bulging muscles in, especially his upper back. He has crazy lower and mid traps right here in the middle of his back, and he has a very long neck, and those trap insertions, which are very high up on his neck, they make it look like his traps really slope down right from up near his ears. And you can see a bit of a Christmas tree in his lower back. His lats look really great even without spreading them, and he's also got really good rear delts and all the other muscles of the upper back, all these little small muscles like of the rotator cuff, or the little stabilizing muscles of the upper back, all looking really good. His side delts popping out to the side of his body, and we can clearly see his triceps bulging, especially that really meaty long head closest to his lats. This is maybe one of the more unrealistic pictures because of how unbelievably shredded he is. You can see like every striation in all the muscles, like there's no fat on his body, and being this shredded would be really difficult naturally. You probably wouldn't be able to maintain it very long because you'd just be starving and feel like death. It looks amazing, but probably not very sustainable unless you're using steroids. But his traps are looking massive, his neck muscles are flexed because he's shouting, and his whole body really looks tense because it looks like he's about to hit someone. Here is another shot of his back, and it just looks amazing. There's not much here that we didn't see in the other back picture, but we get a glimpse of his forearms where the brachioradialis on the top of his forearm is bulging out, and his forearms look pretty vascular, which is not surprising considering how lean he is. Obviously he has a pretty small waist, so if you have a larger waist, these kinds of proportions will be difficult to achieve unless you have really wide shoulders. Now here we can see his shoulder is really looking good, his bicep looking very round and full, his forearms also bulging, and his abs as usual look shredded. There's not an ounce of fat on him. And here I think he looks a bit skinnier in this picture. His serratus anterior next to his rib cage looks completely shredded. His neck looks a bit skinny because it's quite long. I don't think he has a huge neck, it's just his traps. His trap insertions are really crazy, and especially when you're this lean, it's going to be quite hard to have a massive neck. But it actually looks like he has quite small legs in this picture. So leg training in this program is just going to be the bare minimum, which I've discussed in my recent YouTube short about legs. So the highest priorities for for this physique. These are the muscles that we want to focus on the most, and we want to maximize the volume that we're doing for these muscles. So the traps, back, abs, and shoulders are the most important. Also, you really need to be shredded, but that can come later after you've bulked and built the muscle. And some other great areas, but not quite as high a priority, are the biceps, triceps, and the chest, also his forearms. And the lowest priority are going to be legs, and we're just going to do the minimum amount of volume for the legs. So before I get into the program, just a quick disclaimer about genetics. This guy has a long neck, he has long collarbones, which gives him naturally wide shoulders. Your muscle insertions are probably going to be different to his, so your biceps might not look as full, or your chest might not be as wide, and especially your traps might not insert as high on your neck as his do. So you won't look exactly the same as Ken, but you can certainly train the muscles which define his physique. This physique is definitely achievable naturally, but it will take years of training. This program will mostly be for beginners in their first 1 or 2 years of training. I'm assuming you'll be using linear progression with evolving rep ranges to make progress with this program, and I'll explain this when I discuss the program. You'll probably outgrow this program within 2 years or so, and to reach his level you're going to need to continue learning more about muscle growth and train for a long time. If you have elite genetics, you might get to this level in like 2 years. For most people it would probably take 3 or more years. So here is the gym program that I've written to focus on the muscles important for this physique. All of these exercises use evolving rep ranges, and that means you want to complete all of the sets of each exercise within the rep range. So for squats, you want to do 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps. If you do like 6 reps in set 1 and then 6 and then 5 and then 4, then you've fallen out of the rep range and the weight you're using is too heavy. So you need to drop the weight until you can complete all of the sets within the rep range. And once you accomplish that, then you can increase the weight a little bit. And this is a hypertrophy program, not a strength program. So you're going to have to sacrifice your ego and lift slightly lighter weights in order to stay within the rep range. If you want a strength program, look somewhere else, because this is for hypertrophy and building this physique. This method of progression will allow you to constantly make progress by increasing your reps by 1 or a few each week. If you just add weight to the bar, you're eventually going to plateau, probably within a few months to a year. So we're aiming for rep increases, and once we max out the rep range, then we increase the weight. This way we're always stimulating hypertrophy by staying in a challenging zone of intensity without plateauing by trying to add weight too fast. So let's get into the program. On Monday, we are getting the legs out of the way first by doing squats for mostly your quads and Romanian deadlifts for your hamstrings. After that, I wanted to give your forearms a break because there's some more forearm work later in the workout. So we're moving to bench press for obviously your chest, also your front delts and your triceps. And then once your forearms have rested a bit while you're doing bench press, we'll go into barbell row, which is going to be amazing for your mid back, upper back, like the lower traps, that kind of area, which looks so amazing on Ken's physique. And following that up with upright rows for the side delts. These are also quite good for your traps. And after that, you want to do some barbell curls for the biceps, and then finish with hollow body holds for your abs, specifically the transverse abdominis. On the next day, we'll do trap bar or barbell shrugs. If you have access to a trap bar, that is preferable, but if not, just use a barbell. And obviously this is for the traps. So traps will be getting hit when you're doing stuff like deadlifts, rows, but we want to isolate the traps a bit more by doing dedicated shrugs. So we're going to do shrugs twice a week. After the shrugs, we can do weighted chin-ups for the back and really good for the biceps too. And then overhead press for your front delts, and then dumbbell lateral raise. And you can superset that with a bent over dumbbell lateral raise for your side delts and your rear delts, and then overhead triceps extensions to hit the long head of the triceps. You can use a barbell, dumbbell or cable, preferably cable is the best, and then finish with hanging knee raises for your abs, specifically the rectus abdominis. And then we'll rest on Wednesday and then come back in and do some slightly higher rep squats on Thursday for your quads again, and then dumbbell reverse lunges to emphasize the hamstrings. So if you do forward lunges, that's going to be more quads because your knees are going to go over your toes a bit more, but doing reverse lunges, you're focusing on the hamstrings and the glutes a bit more. And we're doing dumbbell version of this because it's going to stretch the traps and it's also going to work your forearms. And then bench press in a slightly higher rep range than on Monday for the chest, shoulders and triceps again, and then dumbbell one arm rows. This is really great for stretching out the lat at the bottom of this movement, and also it's going to work your forearms, so we're getting plenty of indirect forearm work in here. And then dumbbell lateral raises with slightly higher reps for your side delts, and then reverse flies for your rear delts, ideally on a machine, but if not, then you can do cable reverse flies. And then finish off with dumbbell curls for your biceps. Just really pump as much blood into your biceps as possible with kind of higher reps. And then on Friday we'll start with dumbbell shrugs, and again we're basically trying to just get a pump in the shrugs with these quite high reps. And then pull-ups 4 sets to failure to focus on your lats. And then dumbbell overhead press for the front delts. I like to do these seated cable lateral raise with very high reps, like 15 to 20, and you could superset that with face pulls while you're at the cable station. And then incline dumbbell flies to hit the upper chest, really isolate the upper chest. Triceps push downs either with the rope attachment or like a straight bar. Ideally you use 2 ropes, and this allows you to extend your arm further behind your body, which is going to be better for the long head of the tricep. And then finish off with 3 sets of reverse crunches for your abs. So because people are going to comment this kind of thing, I'll just address these points now. Yes, this is quite a high volume program. Generally, higher volume leads to more hypertrophy. If this is too much for you, then take 1 set off of each exercise. So instead of doing 4 sets of 8 squats on Monday, you'll do 3 sets of 8. That'll make it much more manageable. Second, this is a full body program. It's okay to train a muscle 2 days in a row. You can handle it. You're using the same muscle, but you're not doing the exact same movement 2 days in a row. So a bench press and a fly both use the chest, but in different ways. And this minimizes overuse and joint stress and ensures that you train multiple functions of each muscle. If I trained heavy low bar back squat 5 days in a row, I would probably get hurt, and that's not what we're doing here. A full body also allows you to train each muscle more frequently, which generally leads to more hypertrophy. Since full body uses such a huge muscle mass, it burns more calories, so you're going to be hungrier than if you just did an arm day or something, and you need to eat more protein and calories accordingly. At least 0.8 grams protein per pound of body weight, or 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. Eat in a small caloric surplus, like 300 calories, to build muscle. Getting lean is a really important part of this physique, but that needs to come later after you've already built the muscle first by lean bulking. You'll probably also be more tired by doing full body workouts, so you need to make sure that your sleep is on point. Ideally you sleep for 9 hours, and if you have that luxury then definitely do it. Otherwise get at least 7 hours. 8 is great, 9 is perfect. Once you've been lean bulking for at least like a year, or you've reached like 22% body fat, which is quite high, now you can start to cut. You will lose a little bit of muscle along with the fat loss due to the caloric deficit, so you need to keep protein very high, like 1 gram per pound of body weight or 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, and you need to maintain an intense training schedule to retain as much muscle as possible. Use a small caloric deficit, like 300 to 500 calories, to lose weight at a slow, consistent pace, like 1 or 2 pounds or 0.5 to 1 kilogram weight loss per week. Do a little bit of extra cardio like jogging or cycling, 30 minutes 3 times a week. Easy, low intensity cardio, and walk like 10,000 steps a day. If you do all of these things, then fat will melt off you and you'll retain most of your muscle that you've built over the last year or 2 of lean bulking. And I have put together a bodyweight program for this physique, but it's going to be hard to develop your traps and your side delts without using weights. Even like dumbbells would help, but I've done what I can. If you have, dumbbells or bands or gymnastics rings, definitely use those to try and replicate the main gym program as best you can. But this is the home workout you can do to start working towards this physique. On Monday for quads and glutes, we have jump squats, and you follow that up with some Nordic curls for hamstrings, and then push-ups for your chest, shoulders and triceps, inverted rows for your back and biceps. And then to replace the barbell curl from the main program, we can do chin-ups with your elbows like in front of your body to focus on the biceps, or if you have gymnastics rings, do ring curls, and then finish off with hollow body holds for the abs. And on Tuesday we'll do chin-ups with more of a focus on the lats, so tucking your elbows to the side of your body, and then pike push-ups for your shoulders and also your upper chest a little bit. Bodyweight triceps extensions, obviously for your triceps, and then hanging knee raises for your abs. Rest on Wednesday. Cossack squats for your legs, and then jumping lunges also for your legs. Push-ups for your chest, shoulders, and triceps, inverted row, and you can superset those two if you want. And then again, to replace the curls, we're doing chin-ups or ring curls. On Friday, we'll do pull-ups for the lats, pike push-ups for your shoulders, reverse crunches for your abs, decline push-ups for your upper chest, and then bench dips just to finish off to blast your triceps. And then that's it for the bodyweight program. To progress on this, try and add reps each time, add a little bit of weight with a weight vest or a dip belt, or you can move on to harder variations like pistol squats for legs, one arm push-ups for chest, that kind of thing. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I made the analysis a bit more in-depth than usual, and I explained a lot of my reasoning behind, parts of the program. Hopefully I cleared up any misunderstandings about genetics and that kind of thing. I think this is one of my best programs yet, and I might use it myself after I finish this current cycle of Candito 6-week, just for a few weeks as a kind of hypertrophy maintenance phase. I'm going to try that out and I'll let you know what I think. Let me know what you think if you try this program out. I think it's really solid. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.